Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's resume our conference. Now we move to the session 7, delivering on the strategic plan, the GEO work program for the coming 3 years. Today we will invite our PB co-chairs and some special guests to make an introduction what we are going to do for the coming 3 years. So it is delighted to introduce the 2019 Program Board co-chairs to you. They are Ms. Yana Georgin from the United States, difficult to pronounce, and Mr. Osamu Ochiya from Japan, and Mr. Ivan Petervedi from European Space Agencies. Okay, your turn now.
Thank you. Oh, perfect. How is everyone after lunch? Hi. Yay. So, I knew that I was going to speak after lunch, and I did a little research on this. What it means to speak after a lunch slot, how to bring the graveyard shift back to life. Honestly, this does not look like graveyard at all, and I'm hoping that this is not what we're gonna run into right now, so I'm trying to keep you guys moving, reacting, so keep laughing, keep smiling. I looked at some tricks out there that are suggested to keep the audience alive. One suggestion is to do a little bit of physical activity. I'm not going to ask you all to do jumping jacks, but if you feel like you need to move your limbs, that's totally fine by me. But what's really on the program, excellent. I know you like to wave. Where's Finland? Wave with me. Oh, perfect. That looks beautiful. Seriously. Thank you. So now back onto the previously scheduled program. It is session 7, delivering on the strategic plan, the GEO work program, and the first component of this session is on the role of the commercial sector in the delivery of a GEO vision. So I thought I'd take a little bit of inspiration from the strategic plan and see what exactly it said about the commercial sector. It actually didn't say anything about commercial sector, but it said a whole lot about private sector. And it so happens that in GEO, private sector term includes commercial companies, commercial entities, the industry. And so when we define the GEO mission as that to develop the global Earth observation system of systems, the strategic plan is very clear that it is intended for a broad range of users in both public and private sectors. We discuss GEO as being an agile forum that allows government organizations, specialized organizations, UN bodies, and private sector to effectively work together. In fact, this agility of GEO that allows these various industries to work together is considered a unique distinguishing characteristic of the Group on Earth observations. We recognize in the strategic plan that GEO benefits from the participating of the private sector through access of types of data, diverse capabilities, new technologies, and broader community networks. And finally, the private sector, and therefore the commercial sector, are recognized as a key stakeholder and contributor to our mission. So commercial sector really has been involved with GEO for many years. This pie chart represents sort of the distribution, the various types of organizations' participation in GEO, and you can see that the commercial sector and for-profit organizations comprise a fairly, well, not the smallest slice of the pie, at 66% according to, I think, 2019 data, maybe 2017, fairly recent. And this is a distribution of commercial sector organizations by GEO members. What we have done through our rules of procedure in GEO is we've made sure that Our rules ensure for equal opportunity, even opportunity, level playing field for commercial sector to participate in GEO activities. In fact, we really encourage participation of small, medium-sized enterprises in GEO. So while many firms have already been contributing to the various activities of the work program throughout the years, without having to have any formal role in GEO, we recognized, if you remember last year around this time in beautiful Kyoto, we all came together to recognize that there is actually benefit in having a special relationship between GEO and commercial entities, and those organizations, including for-profit companies, who have demonstrated substantive engagement with GEO for more than 2 years and really plan to contribute with self-funded activities in the years to come, are now welcome to join GEO as associates. The first 6 GEO associates were admitted into our GEO family as of July of this year. They were acclimatized, CREAV, ESRI or ESRI, Spacewell, PISAT, ISIS, ICS. And this year, we, the executive committee that just happened on Tuesday, welcomed and admitted another set of associates, PCI Geomatics from Canada, MIT Media Lab, Supermap from China, and Trimble from the United States. So we are now a family of 9 GEO associates in GEO. Well, the presence and participation and interest of the industry in the mission of GEO couldn't be felt stronger than it was in this industry track here. So thank you to Australia yet again for creating this terrific opportunity for the commercial sector to really be present and share with us their expertise, capabilities, know-how, and enrich our discussions here, because after all, we're serving the same mission, and that is providing decision support to those who have to make difficult decisions on public policy for societal well-being. I know not all of us were able to be in the industry track, so not everybody knows what went on there. And we do have 2 organizations who will come up to the stage to tell us about what went on in the industry track, what conclusions were drawn, what lessons were learned. And so it's my pleasure to invite Eva Rodriguez from Frontier SI, that is a participating organization of GEO, and Mr. Wang from PISAT, which is a GEO associate. So without further ado, please.
Thank you, Jana. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Eva Rodriguez from Frontier SI, and this is Yu Yang Wan from Beijing PSAT. This is the first time that an industry track takes place at GEO Week, and with this intervention, we're aiming to give you a summary of what has happened over these last couple of days. So the initial objective, what was the original objective of this industry track? Why are we doing this? What are the highlights of the program and what we've seen in some of the sessions? Some of the lessons learned and ideas from the future, and also 2 exciting announcements from the private sector. But before we do so, we would like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of this land and throughout Australia and their continuing connection to land, sea, and community, and to pay our respect to them and their cultures and to the elders past and present. And I will hand over now to Mr. Wang. So Mr. Wang, please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Yu Xiang Wang from China, Beijing PISAT Company. PISAT Company is a famous remote sensing image process software company, and they provide software and application service in China. On behalf of EO industry community, it's my great pleasure to present a brief summary together with Ms. Eva on the industry track over the past days. First of all, let me congratulate for the great success of the industry track, which is a very unique opportunity to bring together industry sector and to bring strong ties with overall GEOs. Okay.
Thank you. So what were the aims of this GEO Week industry track? So we're recognizing the important role that the private sector plays in harnessing the full potential of Earth observations, and it presents an incredible opportunity for the commercial sector and industry to come together with the GEO community and with all the businesses and end users that can highly benefit from the use of Earth observation-enabled data, products and services. It brings together world-leading technology, space and geospatial companies and has enabled them to showcase and promote their capability to the community. And this industry track hopefully has enabled an open dialogue between commercial companies, public sector, Earth observation users, and the overall GEO community to network, to build stronger relationships, to create partnerships, and also as a platform for announcements. Just a few numbers of what this industry track has been and continues to be, because as we speak, they're still going, so there are sessions still happening. The industry track spanned over 3 days. We kicked off on Tuesday with the Australian Europe Industry Showcase and a Melbourne Cup, which a few of you attended, with some prizes and a great networking opportunity. 87 presenters, including industry representatives and end users from all over the world, 330 attendees, and this is just attendees that came expressively to see the industry track, so this does not include the industry delegations that came along, the industry representatives that came along the delegations. We've had 30 exhibitors as part of the exhibition and 14 dedicated sessions showcasing industry capability, the voice of the end users and the views of leaders in the field, and countless conversations and networking opportunities stemming from it. Some of the observations and highlights that we've seen over these last 3 days, and what you see on screen is a snapshot of the leadership forum, the leadership dialogue that took place yesterday. There were 2 leadership dialogues, and this was captured live in this picture that you see here. So some of the things that were discussed and that emerged as people were sharing views and I guess the way forward. Important discussions took place around the need to continue the dialogue and collaboration between private sector and GEO, and the importance to recognize government not only as a funding source for EO platforms, but as a key end user and beneficiary of Earth observation. The focus on understanding the value that Earth observation brings to the economy, to increase the number of decisions that are based on EO data, and in particular by government and international organizations. The challenge that we have, government and private sector moving at different speeds, and the need to recognize that the private sector is an enabler to build capability and capacity to deliver greater speed in decision making. Recognize the focus the private sector is placing in accelerating common objectives, such as working collectively in the Sustainable Development Goals and in extending the value of public investment, for example, by investing in complementary technologies to those funded by government programs. One of the key lessons and takeaways from these 3 days have been the focus on partnerships. So one of the recurrent topics and important discussion was around this, and to acknowledge that government cannot do it all alone, that we see examples like Digital Earth Australia and the labs here, or Digital Earth Africa, how government can enable the private sector to use Earth observation data and to create services to stimulate the economy. And there are also commercial versions of these platforms, and we need to leverage all technologies available through collaboration to be able to deliver on GEO's vision. There is a huge reservoir of data that is collected by the private sector and end users, such as in agriculture, in mining, in aquaculture, and others, and by governments, that can be unlocked through partnerships. And we have seen these days that these and other sectors share many of the needs that GEO has, many of the problems that GEO wants to solve, and so government and international organizations, NGOs, can truly benefit from joint collaborations to cover both GEO's goals and to provide answers to market needs. Collaboration is important to build capability, to increase education, awareness, and knowledge sharing. And it is important to mention that a lot of the work on EO is still project-based. And with an R&D focus, that's not enough. The private sector can truly play a critical role in providing operational services in a sustainable manner. For example, we can leverage cloud and machine learning, which means that we can, data that would take 6 months to process now can be processed in 6 weeks. And finally, the focus on the human aspect. So business and any relationship is built on trust, and for which local partnerships at national level through regional GEOs and with industry are extremely important. Some lessons learned and for the future. So GEO Week 2019 industry track has been a success, exceeding expectations. Starting from delegations who have brought companies with them, the numerous business-to-business interactions, and the excellent opportunity for leading global and local Earth observation industry players to share knowledge. A very important point and one to consider for the future is the importance to create opportunities for GEO delegations, including plenary attendees, to talk and truly engage with industry. So perhaps by considering the planning of the plenary sessions in alignment with the industry track, maximizing attendance to both. Also for GEO to consider the voice of industry during the creation of its program of work, to ensure a sustainable program that is well informed and considers all aspects of EO activity and innovations in the public and private sector, perhaps through leveraging the GEO associate category, which is now available for the private sector to engage and participate in GEO discussions, and by keeping an open dialogue. With that, we would like to thank the organizers of the industry track here in Australia, the Australia Space Agency, the government, CSIRO, and the partners of the industry track, Frontier SI, Earth Observation Australia, the Spatial Industries Business Association, and the Space Industry Association of Australia, and also to thank GEO for the opportunity to have this industry track this year. And we wish GEO and the next year's host all the best in carrying this effort forward.
Thank you very much, Eva. Thank you, Mr. Wang. It's really encouraging to hear that there was such rich discussion happening during the industry track. Many of the companies that participated also have their exhibit booths here on our exhibition floor. So definitely encourage everyone to continue to visit them and learn more about what they do, and why not just take care of new partnerships and collaborations while you're at it as well. I'd like to ask that we go back to the other set of slides. Because oh yeah, that's right. Perfect. So as part of our initiatives of working with the commercial sector, the GEO Secretariat, on behalf of GEO, issued an open call, an announcement of opportunity in September of this year. And it was a call to companies to provide cloud-based geospatial processing platforms that offer access to data and processing credits to the GEO community. The call went out in September, and we received interest from this list of organizations: Amazon Web Services, Google, Synergize, Mayo, Mundi, which is one of the DSs, Earth Observation Data Center for Water Resource Monitoring, Soblu from Airbus, and Microsoft. Some of these companies are already prepared to make an explicit concrete offer. As a matter of fact, that some of you may have heard the announcement that was made yesterday during the afternoon. But others are still continuing discussions with the GEO Secretariat, and we do expect that there will be more announcements coming in the future. The call is open. There is no expiration date on this call for opportunity, so we really do look forward to new collaborations with a diverse set of companies. So as I mentioned, there are 2 companies on this list that have already defined their offer to the GEO community, and the first one of them is Amazon, and I invite Anna Privet to tell us about this new collaboration between GEO and Amazon.
Thank you, Jana. Can you all hear me? Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity to be here and to express publicly our support and commitment to the Digital Earth Africa project. Through this collaboration with Digital Earth Africa and as the technology enabler, Amazon Web Services is committed to hosting petabytes of Earth observation data in the AWS cloud and make it available and accessible to all the data users across the African continent to extract knowledge and information that can support sustainability work and other types of applications. This is particularly an exciting opportunity of support for us because the Digital Earth Africa builds on lessons learned from previous initiatives that we've been supporting, including the Africa Regional Data Cube. And you can also leverage from all the expertise and the platform maturity of the Digital Earth Australia, which is it's really as well built on partly on AWS. So one of the exciting things from us, from the perspective of supporting Digital Earth Africa, is the fact that AWS is opening a new data region, a data center region in Africa, in Cape Town. And so Digital Earth Africa will be one of the first customers to actually migrate some of the mission critical workloads into that new space in Africa. This is particularly exciting in the sense that Digital Earth Africa would be able to take advantage of all the technology and services that AWS can enable, but at the same time ensure that the data stays within the domain of the African continent, and in this case of the South Africa country. So I'm really I'm grateful to be here. There's a few things I would like to mention just very briefly. I think that the creation of the Digital Earth Africa is really a great opportunity to catalyze some digital transformation in Africa, across the African continent, and the opportunity not only to provide access to data, services, and products for the governments, the local and national and regional governments, to support decision making, but also to engage the private sector and build on a economic development platform for the continent. And in that sense, we want to express our interest in being at the table and working closely with GEO, Digital Earth Africa, Geoscience Australia, to leverage AWS and Amazon programs and capabilities to remove any barriers of entry to private sector, startups, and GEOs, and whatever groups can benefit from this information. So overall, we're committed to building a community of users around this data and this platform and enable efforts like the ones, for instance, that Esri is already putting in place with creating the African Geo portal. So I guess thank you very much for the opportunity. We look forward to working together to empower access to data and information for Digital Earth Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, and thank you, Amazon. I think the nature of this collaboration flows very nicely with the discussions that we had during the previous session on the results-oriented GEOS. It's certainly exactly the type of partnership that will help us deliver on that vision for getting the results from the work of GEO out into the world in every part of the planet Earth, leaving no one behind. The next company, and that's Google Earth, Director Rebecca Moore is here. Google was also part of the expert advisory group that Gilberto referenced in his presentation. That was part of that sort of brain trust, I guess, that was deliberating the concept of the GeoKnowledge Hub. So it's really lovely to have you here, Rebecca, to talk to us about the kind of collaboration that we are going to have with Google Earth.
Thank you, Anna. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the GEO Secretariat and to all of you for welcoming us here today. I am excited to talk to you about the program that we're launching, the commitment that we're making. I did just first want to step back and give a little bit of a perspective because we've been at this now, our team, for more than a decade, and working actually with a number of you on this whole area of Earth observation for societal benefit. And as you know very well, we're entering the decade of action. We're running out of time to address many of the challenges that we face. And it's really time for all sectors of society to step up and make their contribution. This includes, perhaps especially, the private sector. We cannot sit on the sidelines while you work so hard to address these daunting challenges. And as I think all of us associated with GEO understand, Earth observation holds the key to unlock many solutions, and technology can help operationalize those solutions at scale. So that's why we actually invented Google Earth Engine a decade ago, and I'm going to see how many of you are awake. We launched this at the COP16 International Climate Conference in Cancun, 2010. How many of you were there? I'm just curious if any of you were there. Okay, so someone might have seen our launch. But since then, a number of you have been using Earth Engine to address some of the challenges that you're working on. And some of you have stopped me in the hallways to thank us for the platform, so thank you for that. We've had a recent wonderful partnership with the European Commission Joint Research Center and UN Environment to use Earth observation data to generate a Tier 1 indicator for SDG 661. And we're very excited about that as the first Tier 1 indicator that Google is helping the Earth observation data community to generate and operationalize. So now we're here to formalize and amplify these kind of commitments that we've been making informally over this past decade. And specifically, we are launching a global program. So this is available, will be available everywhere in the world, in all 110 GEO member countries and participating orgs. An impact-focused program that will give you access to Google Earth Engine, unlimited cloud services in Earth Engine, all you can eat, we like to say, together with extensive technical support, capacity development, hands-on training for 2 full years. And the focus of this will be to help to close that gap from Earth observation data to the science, turbocharging the science, taking it to policy, and taking that to actual solutions at scale on the ground that make a real difference in people's lives. We will be sending out the call for, or GEO will be sending out the call for proposals soon. I hope that means really soon, so stay tuned. And there will be up to 25 applicants chosen. So we're excited to see if we can really lean in with you on using technology together with Earth observation data and in cooperation with you to really make a difference for your citizens, for the world, and for future generations. So we're excited to work with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. I really don't have any slides left, and all I have to say at this point is thanks to everyone for your contributions. We really are looking forward to growing our scale of partnerships with the private sector, both through their participation in the work program activities, as well as through more formal engagements and partnerships, just like the 2 that we just heard about. So on this note, I'd like to close session on support of commercial sector to implementing the GEO vision and strategic plan, and turn it over to my fellow co-chair, Yvonne Petitville, who will offer perspective on the work program that we are concluding on just this year. Yvonne?
I'm glad you pronounced my name correctly, which is not easy For those who do not speak French, I'm Ivan Little Town. It's a translation of Petite Ville. So, do you like movies? Yeah? Okay, good. Because in a few minutes you will see a video from Steven Spielberg on the impact of the first GEO work program. But just before that, let me say a few words of introduction. We all, in our respective countries, confronted with global social challenges. Every year, we see the increasing effect of climate change. Many countries representing billions of people around the world are facing food and water security problems. Natural disasters affect many countries every week on the globe. Every week, we also get through the media dramatic news regarding the loss of biodiversity. And no single country can bring a successful response to those challenges, because very often the root causes of those challenges are global. They go beyond the borders of single countries. So these challenges, in order to address them, we need a collective and coordinated response from all of us together. Since the inception of GEO, the GEO community has worked hard and very often succeeded to foster strategic partnership, to coordinate and to contribute to sustainable solutions to those global challenges. For instance, around the world, GEO is delivering more and more data, information and knowledge for coordinated and sustainable global action. And the positive effect of this coordinated effort is that EO data is being integrated into strategies and approaches to disaster risk reduction, to climate adaptation and mitigation, to sustainable development, and to other areas. So gradually, GEO is advancing the use of Earth observation data and information to support global policy priorities, to support global and multilateral agreements, and to support major stakeholders like the United Nations, like the regional development banks. So you are going to see now this expected video from Steven Spielberg, a 5-minute video that will show you through a few examples how GEO is making advances in science-based evidence for policymaking, and how it integrates the state-of-the-art in technology to turn Earth observation data into knowledgeable actions. So, can we see the video now? George Clooney is not in it, but he sends his regards to everyone.
Our world is rapidly changing. Global temperatures are rising. Biodiversity is in decline. Climate shifts are impacting cities and coastlines. Disasters are more severe and dangerous. Earth observations provide data and information that decision makers need to take action to protect our planet. The Group on Earth Observations, GEO, is a global partnership of over 100 countries and more than 130 organizations working together with hundreds of national government agencies to ensure Earth observations make an impact. GEO coordinates a global work program. More than 50 global and regional initiatives and activities deliver data and information for social impact. GEO gets data into the hands of those who need it. The Earth Observation Cloud Credits Program provides cloud computing and storage for researchers in developing countries. GEO works to lower the barriers to access, to use, and benefit from Earth observations. New technologies are expanding the reach of Earth observation data and information. Working with petabytes of data requires large storage space to host, process, and manage. Open Data Cube technology, pioneered by Geoscience Australia, complemented by cloud-based processing, is bolstering the use of Earth observation data in communities, and scaling up at the continental level with initiatives like Digital Earth Africa. GEO impacts lives. The GEO Global Agricultural Monitoring Initiative, GEOGLAM, is improving food security in regions around the world. In Uganda, regular crop monitoring produces data on current crop conditions and provides advanced warning of crop failure. In 2017, advanced warnings of drought helped more than 150,000 people in the region and saved an estimated $2.6 million in emergency response. The Geo Biodiversity Observation Network, GEOBON, is celebrating a decade of conservation efforts. GEOBON brings together 800 members from over 560 institutions and 90 countries for coordinated biodiversity monitoring. From the Mekong River to the Amazon rainforest, regional and thematic networks are protecting life on our planet. The Asia-Pacific BON has revealed impacts of a hydroelectric dam on freshwater fish biodiversity. The Columbia BON has mapped vital ecosystem diversity in the world's largest rainforest. The Global Observation System for Mercury, GOS-4M, is tracking pollutants around the globe. GOS-4M supports the Minamata Convention on Mercury and the United Nations Environment Programme. It provides monitoring data and modeling tools that help policymakers assess transportation of mercury within ecosystems. The Global Forest Observation Initiative, GFOI, is supporting national forest monitoring and measuring of greenhouse gases. Information on forests is vital to tackle climate change. In 2019, GFOI launched a new online portal to host a system for Earth observation data access, processing, and analysis for land monitoring, or SEPAL, at the UN Climate Action Summit. Allowing quick access to satellite data on mobile platforms, researchers are benefiting from up-to-date information on forests. These are just a few examples from the GEO Work Programme. GEO regional initiatives ensure that no one is left behind. AfriGeo, AmeriGeo, AOGeo, and EuroGeo. Join GEO to ensure Earth observations impact climate, health of the oceans, biodiversity and ecosystems, disaster risk reduction, public health, sustainable development, and our planet. GEO is turning Earth observation data into knowledge for action.
So I see that this movie by Francis Ford Coppola has been appreciated. I will encourage you also, you can see again, download this video from the web. I guess you will see the URL soon. And I encourage you also to read the report on impact, which is a web online document that provides you other examples. I think about 50 GEO activities shows the positive impact of GEO. So I will encourage you also to access this web online video document. So to conclude that session, I would like to acknowledge all the GEO actors that have contributed to increase the impact of GEO on humanity's response to those emerging social challenges. So the GEO Plenary, the Executive Committee, the Program Board, the GEO Secretariat, of course, and all the GEO task teams, and also all the GEO members, participating organizations, and the people in those countries and participating organizations that do never show up in our meetings, in the bigger GEO events, but are working at home, contributing to make GEO advance and increase the impact, the positive impact of GEO. So with this, I will give the floor to my fellow co-chair, Osamu Ochaye.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ivan. Distinguished guests, on behalf of the entire GEO Program Board Committee, based on the achievement we just saw, now it is a time to great honor to introduce our 2020-2022 work program. My name is Osamu Chai, one of the co-chairs of the GEO Program Board, and then representing by Japan. So I just want to go into the detail. By the way, here is our work program. This is 128 page. Who have already read the work program? Cover to cover. Oh, it's not so much big. You have to read it. I really encourage you have to read it. This is really a kind of major crystal achieved by the entire GEO community. So this is our baseline, our vehicle. So just, we like to emphasize about that. Today, of course, I'm not going to introducing about this work program, just very brief. But during this week, we have already had many ongoing activities, potential contributions, and new ideas, and even the gaps and opportunities. So concerning to the work program. So let me just try to introduce about the work program. First of all, I would like to thank 32 program board members. You know, I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of their dedicated representatives. And half member, as you see, member countries, half member from participating organization. I would also like to particularly thank my fellow co-chairs, Yana Jaborgian, Ivan Petitbill. Actually, we know each other quite a long time, so that we don't have any starting up time. So we just simply go into and get work done. So thanks for us, you know, it's a really tremendous familiarity, family kind of things. And of course, 32 program board members. That's great. And as you can see, this schedule things, 2019 was a very busy year for the program board members, as it reviews all the elements of the GEO work program. The process has begun in late 2018 with preparation of new guidelines and templates for the implementation plans and the formal call for the new plans and proposal in December. The implementation plans were requested by mid-February, it's a very short time, and the program board review process started shortly later. So it's a very packed work. And then plan of all the proposed GEO flagships initiatives and regional GEOs were each reviewed by one of 10 teams of the program board members. So we divided to the 10 teams to try to review by each expert areas. The team provided comments and suggestions for improvement back to the activity leads through the several interactions. And the GEO Data Technology Workshop and also the GEO Symposium provided key opportunities for discussion of the new work program within the GEO community. And the GEO, of course, GEO Executive Committee monitored the process and provided helpful feedback. And the two previous version work program summary documents were circulated for the comments. First one is a technical review within the GEO community, and the second one is the initial review by the GEO principal. Here you see the result is a blend of the continuity and also the renewal from the current 2017 and 2019 work program. As you see, the 4 GEO flagships and the 4 regional GEOs remain the same. The GEO initiatives are largely the same, although there have been a small number of the change. And as expected, most of the change from the this current 2017-2019 work program have been to the community activities. The reviewers have reinforced the expectation that new activities should enter the work program as community activities before applying as initiatives. That are kind of a characteristic of our review process. The range of new community activities is evidence that the GEO work program continues to provide a useful framework for collaboration among GEO members and POs. So this slide shows just about the overview of the change from the current work program to the new work program. 3 initiatives did not submit the plans, unfortunately. 1 initiative merged with others, 1 initiative changed its category, 8 community activities did not submit a proposal, 8 community activities merged with others, 1 CA changed its category, and the 12 new CAs proposed. And we have totally 58 activities were set after the result of the review, and interaction and coordination between PB and the activity leads has very active. But the number was less than the previous work program, but I think it would be a result of the efforts of the more consolidation. I'd like to highlight about the new activities to be added. For the new GEO initiatives, data integration and analysis system, and Earth observation for health, which have both already existed in the current work program as community activities, but they will be now ready to become initiatives. They are newly introduced 12, as I mentioned, community activities, as you can see. Thank you for those who proposed this activity. And I'd like to note the discussion in this morning, actually, on the topic of the impact assessment for society, societal benefit, and also the economy, which I think would be a very kind of a missing piece for this current work program. I think it is one of the important topics in the work program board to discuss further how to best organize this element. This forthcoming work program also includes major revisions to the foundation tasks. The changes were made to reflect the growing importance of the GEO engagement priorities and the need for integration among the various components of the GEO's infrastructure. Other changes reflect themes from the recommendation of the Expert Advisory Group, EAG, the new strategy on capacity building, development, and improved support to the management of the GEO work program. I'd like to just one note, these foundation tasks will be implemented in part by 4 working groups. These working groups will address climate, disaster reduction, data sharing, data management, and the capacity development. Once their terms of reference have been given final approval by GEO Executive Committee, which is expected in March 2020, the GEO Secretary will issue a call for nominations. The program board encourages broad participation in the working group from across the entire GEO community. This shows countries contributing to the GEO work program activities. And then at least 75 GEO member countries are contributing to the work program, and plus 15 non-member countries. And also 46 participating organizations and 32 non-affiliated international organizations. I heard actually yesterday, and also previously in the video, no one left behind. I think a couple of times, and then I think it is almost also important on this work program participation. We would also invite further contributions, and even I would say just participation as a starting point of this work program activities. And then this chart shows the top 10 individual country contributions. It is obvious US is quite big. And also China and Japan are making significant contributions. Of course, European countries are very active, and Australia, thanks so much. And then South Africa and Mexico are notable contributions from the developing countries. Again, today we will also ask endorsement of the document. However, it will be a living document, welcome more contributions and participation. I was thinking that work program would be a kind of a vehicle for the GEO committee, of course, towards the common goals. But I think it might be a kind of not a supercar, but maybe a bus, stopping each station to picking up people and then more participation. But maybe sometimes they are kind of mixed about the supercar, family car, and the bus. So this is just my analogy. So last but not least, I would like to convey a special thanks to GEO Secretary Gilbert Kamala and his staff, particularly Craig Lowry and then Wenbo Chu, who have devoted their workload intensively supporting to the program board. Thank you very much. this is conclude my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Okay, there.
Yeah, go back to the chair.
Okay, the three PB co-chairs have introduced about the industry interaction, the achievement we have carried out, and the coming 3-year plan. Are there any comments from the underground? Okay. Okay, you do first. European.
So we'd like to express the European Commission appreciation for the efforts done to develop the GEO Work Program 2020-2022. And in particular, we are very grateful to the program board and the review team for the excellent work they have achieved those last months in bringing together the wide range of activities proposed by the GEO community. So we endorse the work program 2020-2022 because it is at the heart of GEO, and we would suggest that GEO pursues its efforts to engage with a broader set of stakeholders, including those not currently involved in GEO, in particular those communities that have specific needs, as it has been expressed several times during this plenary and yesterday, and are not normally at the GEO table. We think it's very important to go beyond the GEO circle and involved in the preparation of the work program stakeholders outside the normal GEO circle. And with that, I would like to give the floor to my colleague of the European Commission to comment on the commercial sector part.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, and Mr. Co-Chair and fellow co-chairs of the program board, thank you all for this opportunity. So just on the commercial side, really the European Commission would be, first of all, like to congratulate Australia for the efforts done and involved in the commercial sector in this GEO week. We really appreciate the way this has been handled through the industry track and consider it to be an important element for the success of the summit. And in that respect, we have also been active in stimulating the participation of European EO companies to attend and participate in this week. So from that side, we'll also welcome the increased visibility given to the private sector in the GEO Work Programme. They're clearly key in delivering the impact at regional, local, community and business level, and in providing sustained solutions. From this point of view, we also welcome the contribution of the private sector, including this provision of cloud facility credits, and we will continue to champion all the efforts to ensure that this is done in a clear and transparent process of engagement in then using these facilities, including clear rights and obligations, and in ensuring the interoperability of all these facilities and their application with the GEOS infrastructure, so that the whole of GEOS as a global endeavor for the public good continues to be greater than the sum of all these and increasingly diverse parts. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, give the floor to SPC, the Secretary Pacific Community.
Thank you, Chair. Nissan Bulavanaka, delegates and colleagues. SPC is the premier regional scientific and technical organisation of the Pacific Island governments. It is in that context that we congratulate Tonga in becoming the first Pacific GEO member and thank the Principal for her words of support this morning. We encourage more of our Pacific Island members to consider joining GEO. We thank GEO for the opportunity to actively participate in your governance and initiatives through the Pacific Island program this week, and especially through the Talanoa Dialogue on Tuesday. This Talanoa built on the landmark Earth observation meeting for the Pacific in Brisbane last year, for which the report is now available on the GEO website, and the subsequent Pacific Regional Earth Observation Coordination meeting held in Suva in 2019. Tuesday's Talanoa heard, as we heard from Nya as a proud Cook Islands and Pacific representative, that some of the global sustainable development challenges we all face are truly an existential crisis for parts of the Pacific. The atoll nations, for example, are at risk of becoming uninhabitable due to climate change, as they may be completely submerged by rising sea levels. We heard that the Pacific large ocean states are dynamic. They change with the seasons and with the tides. We therefore believe that the Pacific stands to benefit from the Earth observation technologies of today and tomorrow more than any other region on Earth, because we'll be able to collect observational data almost as frequently as our dynamic blue continent changes. And we also heard from everyone who shared their stories that Pacific ownership is the most critical component of any Earth observation initiative in our region, and that the coordination and genuine partnerships with Pacific Island governments and Pacific regional agencies such as ours is the key to ensuring sustainability. In the Pacific, the motive that we often use to describe partnerships and collaboration towards a common goal is the waka, or canoe, because it is the Pacific Ocean that connects us as a region, and only when you are in the canoe can you know that you are paddling and navigating together. And so yesterday we had the very great pleasure of inviting GEO into our canoe through announcing a technical and investment partnership to undertake an analysis of Pacific Earth observation needs and develop a plan of action for a Pacific Earth observation platform that will meet those needs. We give recognition for this partnership first and foremost to our Pacific members who we are here to represent, and to all regional and national organisations and governments that are supporting the program, including New Zealand, the USA and Australia. As we take this initiative forward on behalf of our Pacific members, we welcome the opportunity to work with additional partners from the GEO community, and depending on progress and outcomes in the future, we will also consider putting this initiative forward as a community activity in the GEO work program. Wanaka Vakalevu, and thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Now give the floor to Australia.
Thank you, Chair. Australia endorses the new Work Plan 2020 to 2022. We welcome the intervention of SPC, and we look forward to supporting SPC, SPREP and the Pacific Island countries and other partners in the Pacific in scoping their operational Earth observation needs of the Pacific through a potential new community activity in the future. While we're on large ocean areas, Australia also looks forward to working with GEO members and participating organisations in collaborating around the UN Decade of Ocean Science over the next 10 years. Australia is pleased to note the rapid growth in the application of the Open Data Cube in GEO activities. In fact, it's pretty hard to miss in this week's conversation. My apologies. It justifies our decision in Australia to open source this technology and make it available to the entire GEO community. We've also heard a lot about Digital Earth Africa this week. Digital Earth Africa, the community activity, is developing rapidly. This week, Digital Earth Africa released the first whole-of-continent products covering the entire African continent and made available to all Africans free of charge. Many GEO members and participating organisations are actively contributing to the Digital Earth Africa effort. Funding has been attained to the order of 25 million Australian dollars from the Helmsley Charitable Trust and the Australian Government to progress Digital Earth Africa, and we just heard from Amazon about their sustainability program to support data storage for Digital Earth Africa. In Australia's view, the time is right to think about elevating Digital Earth Africa from a community activity to an initiative, and the Digital Earth Africa team will submit paperwork for this to the program board with the intent that in the next review of the work program this could be considered to be a new initiative of GEO. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll give the floor to the United States.
It is a pleasure to follow the positive interventions shared by SPC in Australia. The U.S. is very pleased to support the effort by SPC, SPREP, and partners in the Pacific Islands region. This is an important landmark in a week of meaningful Talanoa sharing and idea development in the GEO Week Pacific Islands program. This effort focuses on developing an analysis of Pacific Earth observation needs and a strategic regional framework of engagement and action plan to inform the broader GEO community of carefully considered Pacific regional priorities, requirements, and preferences. The effort will create a solid foundation of practical information about ways in which traditional knowledge, in situ sensors, and remote sensing can be woven together into a basket of regionally appropriate solutions for a sustainable future. The scoping effort over the coming year will lead to a fuller understanding of existing resources and identify GEO programs, EO technology, knowledge transformation, and capacity building to support island leaders and communities in their stewardship of resilient and productive oceans and lands and safe and prosperous human communities navigating together into the future. Thank you, and I hand this over to you.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
If I could, sir, at the same time, the U.S. would like to state we strongly endorse the 2020 to 2022 work program. The United States is a longstanding supporter of many of the GEO work program activities, as was shown in the charts earlier. With our partners, we lead on 3 of the 4 flagships, and 14 of the 19 initiatives we're active participants in, as well as other portions of the foundational tasks. We wish to highlight the broad significance of these activities within the work program to multiple policy communities, including and beyond those listed with the 3 main GEO engagement priorities. We welcome the decision taken by the XCOM to put in place a process to update the terms of reference for those critical working groups on climate, disasters, and others, with an aim to codify the scope and responsibilities and to reach the broadest set of relevant policy communities that we affect. We recognize the benefits that our investments in GEO work program are making at the level of influencing decision-making at all levels, in fact. Where opportunities exist to improve the predictive capabilities of these services, the U.S. agencies will look to make further contributions where we can. We also welcome contributions to the work program from other sources, including those identified today and in the future from the commercial sector, that would advance our capability and our ability to meet the needs of the community that we are trying to serve. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll give the floor to New Zealand. New Zealand? No? Okay. Yeah, I'll give the floor to SPREP.
Thank you. Talofalava, mafaftai, telelava moleava noa. On behalf of the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Program, whose members include 21 Pacific Island countries and territories, we would like to warmly thank and to commend GEO and Australia for the Pacific Island Program and the warm welcome extended to Pacific Islands. We assert the value of Pacific Islanders' traditional knowledge, and we encourage that traditional knowledge be embedded into Earth observation activities in the Pacific Islands. We welcome partnerships that support our existing Pacific data ecosystem, that build our capacity to manage, access, and utilize Earth observation data in the Pacific Islands, that ensure a sustainable data infrastructure in the Pacific Islands, and that encourage good data governance while respecting national data sovereignty. We emphasize the central role of the ocean in our Pacific way of life. We highlight the importance of expanding Pacific Ocean observing and modeling, including in situ observations necessary to calibrate and validate remote observations. And we welcome support from GEO and others to help us achieve Pacific priorities for the UN Decade of Ocean Science. Frafatai Lava.
Okay, thank you. Now I give the floor to China.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. We would like to thank to the dedicated work of PB, GEO Secretariat, and all the research terms as well. The 2020 to 2022 GEO work program is more concentrated on GEO's 3 priorities, and that will provide much fruitful outcomes. We are happy to see a variety of programs to continue in the 2020 to 2022 GEO work program. among which China actively takes part in. Moreover, China research terms lead and participate in some new ones, such as in situ observation and applications for ecosystem status of China, and Earth observation industrial innovation platform for sustainable development, which is jointly applied by Chinese commercial sectors. All these programs have continuously supported the implementation of GEO 2016 to 2025 Strategic Plan. Towards 2020 to 2022 GEO Work Program, China has launched an international cooperation project of 80 million Chinese yuan to support high-quality work programs. We call it China GEO Cooperation Initiative, which will focus on 4 directions. First, services and the open sharing of Earth observation data. Secondly, data technology and Earth observation. Thirdly, Earth observation of Asia and Oceania. And fifthly, comprehensive application of Earth observation data, and principally focus on 3 priorities. Welcome to a cooperation with Chinese research terms and contribute to the implementation of GEO Strategic Plan together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's move to Japan.
Thank you, Chair. Japan truly appreciates all the great effort of the program board and support its proposal. We hope the brand new work program would pave the way to realize the GEO's vision. Japan will continue to strongly support the activities envisioned by the new work program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, I'd like to invite South Africa.
Distinguished guests, I would like to express our support for the GEO program. We'd also like to highlight that we have embarked on an initiative that seeks to explore application of Earth observation on the protection of the oceans and exploitation of ocean resources. The initiative is called the National Ocean and Coast Information Management System, and it has a number of decision support tools, such as the marine spatial planning, oil spill detection, harmful algal bloom, integrated vessel tracking, etc. We hope to expand the initiative, the capabilities to cover the 38 African coastal states. Access to Earth observation data is critical for the success of this initiative. This will further contribute to the global initiatives such as the climate change adaptation, combating of ocean acidification and pollution, the Sendai Framework, the Minamata Convention on Mercury, the UN SDGs such as the life underwater and eradication of poverty, and also the Blue Planet Initiative. Another initiative that we're embarking on is the Digital Earth South Africa, which would also contribute to the Digital Earth Africa Initiative. South Africa supports the elevation of the Digital Earth Africa from community activities to the GEO initiative, taking into account the progress made in resource mobilization and the delivery of products and services to decision makers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I invite Germany. Doesn't work?
Sorry. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is a GEO meeting about modern digital technology, but now we can make our statements. Germany clearly endorses this new GEO work program. We are very happy and we appreciate all of this work which has been done. We think the new work program is one of the core achievements of GEO. There's one consideration point we would like to raise. We think it has been a mistake to delete the climate as an individual SPA. We think that the GEO work program must easily show the GEO work on climate as this is a declared GEO priority. So we suggest to reconsider and reinvent a climate SPA so that people within the GEO community and outside can easily understand and contribute to our work. Finally, we would like to emphasize that climate observations are not only to support the Paris Agreement, but we need climate observations on all levels, from the global to the regional levels. Thank you.
Okay, next I move Bangladesh.
Thank you, Chair. Let me introduce myself briefly to make my point a bit comprehensive. I am a remote sensing scientist working in Bangladesh Space Research and Remote Sensing Organization. Actually, I'm an end user. So my deliberation will be from the perspective of end user. The issue is how I am confident using the Earth observation data sets. This is not very much personalized because if as a end user I am confident, then this will be attributed to the hundreds, perhaps the thousands of end users working all over the world. Let me bring one example. Before 2 decades, we realized that in Bangladesh, we need to establish a living system for monitoring our ever-changing river network, which is one of the largest in the world. So at that time, we were not confident because data was not available. But now, I am very much confident that we can provide the information to the policymakers as and when required, because data is available through the opportunity created by the GEO over the years. I am very much thankful to United States for providing us the data through the USGS website. I am also thankful to European Space Agency for providing us data through Copernicus Open Access Hub. I am also thankful to the Chinese government for giving us free access to different data sets of the from the satellites, Chinese satellites. We have an opportunity to access the data sets under the umbrella of Asia Pacific Space Cooperation Organization, APOSCO. So this is a matter of confidence that I have, and I believe that hundreds and thousands of end users over the world, they have the confidence nowadays for providing the near real-time data sets to the policymakers. But on the other hand, I am not confident for providing the time-critical data sets. Let me explain. You know that Bangladesh is a flood-prone country, and we have flood every year in our country from local to national level. When flood occurs in the national level, then our country becomes inundated more than 40%. So in this condition, we cannot use the drone for collecting information on flood. So we have to rely on the satellite remote sensing. And in this situation, when flood occurs in Bangladesh, it lasts for weeks, perhaps sometimes months. So that time, every day the policymakers want to know the situation of the flood in the country. But as you know, the availability of the data from the polar orbiting satellite does not allow us to monitor the flood situation day by day. What we did, we actually activated the Sentinel Asia led by Japan, JASCA, and then we activated the International Disaster Charter for the satellite data. Then after a few days, we obtained some data. Then we tried to make a flood map reflecting the peak flood condition, but data is not always available. So this is a question, this is the issue of time critical, availability of time critical data sets. So in this case, I'm not very much confident. So I request the GEO community to take into account this matter in the future plan of action. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I move to Piru.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dear delegates and colleagues, being the first time that my country takes the floor, I would like to express our appreciation to Australia and the GEO Secretariat for organizing this important conference. I would like also to recognize the big effort put in the elaboration of the work program 2020-2022. Mr. Chairman, in Peru, research projects financed by different cooperation sources are linked to different Peruvian state institutions to get scientific technical support in their implementation and operation. Many of the projects require space information, which is provided by the Peruvian submetric satellite information system for free, being this way of distribution satellite data a unique model in Latin America. However, the projects that are implemented are operatively working in Peru, sometimes are not used for decision-making process. Therefore, it is necessary that GEO nationals, in our case, GEO Peru, may have a record of such projects to promote their use and sustainability among member countries. Additionally, the Space Agency of Peru seeks to continue with the strategy of capacity building through training, master degrees, internships of specialists with the support of the World Space Agencies. Taking into account this, Peru wishes to make the following proposals or suggestions and comments. In order to guarantee the operability of projects that require satellite information, as well as their continuity and sustainability, Peru considers necessary to improve the support for national GEOs in the GEO activities. In that sense, we request that all the GEO's flagship initiatives and projects of interest or for the regions be registered through the national working groups. We wish also to emphasize the need to create a GEO platform to manage satellite information through a national repository with national, regional, and local scope. For this, it is recommended to adopt the Australian Open Data Cube model to store, process, and analyze large collections of Earth observation data. Peru considers convenient to outline the need for capacity building in the use and exploitation of satellite information. The support of international scientific community is required in the management of satellite data for the National Satellite Image Repository and in the preparation of image processing courses to address problems in monitoring deforestation, flooding, landslides, illegal fishing, and illegal crops, among others. Finally, we consider appropriate to reaffirm the priority areas for Ameri GEO, namely agriculture and food security, biodiversity and ecosystem management, disaster risk reduction, and water resources management, as well as health. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Now I invite Kenya.
Thank you, Chair. Let me also join fellow delegates who commended Australia for hosting a great GEO Week 2019. Kenya notes the intervention from Australia, proposing that Digital Earth Africa be elevated from a community activity to a GEO initiative. We support this proposal, subject to Digital Earth Africa presenting the necessary information in good order to the Secretariat. Kenya also appreciates being the host of GEO Africa, and we want to thank RCMRD for hosting GEO Africa in Nairobi. We thank all those who have supported GEO Africa and appeal for increased support for GEO Africa. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Now I give floor to Italy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Italy is happy to endorse the new GEO work program 2020-2022, and is proud to confirm its contribution in leading one of the 4 flagships, the one on Mercury, and to continue the contribution for several GEO initiatives and foundational tasks. We strongly believe that the outcome of this flagship and the initiative and the foundational task in the new work program will be the core of the outcome of the GEO Knowledge Hub. Also, Italy welcomed the contribution of the commercial sector to the new work program. We strongly believe that the commercial sector can provide a qualified and a very important contribution to GEO in achieving its goal and objectives. Also, we would like to thank the GEO work program member for the program board member for the hard work and effort that they dedicated in shaping the new work program and supporting this long activity that took several efforts during the last year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I give the floor to Switzerland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Also, Switzerland supports the work program. Various actors in Swiss community, namely research institutions and university, are at work contributing to the implementation of the activities of the work program. So, for example, or in particular in the field of the essential variables, but also on the data cube, the Swiss data cube. We want also to add that we support the proposal of Germany to make more visible the theme of climate change. I think we are aware that this is essential also for the future for GEO, but also for the future of the negotiations and implementation of climate change and the challenges we're facing. So make it visible through the GEO work program, the theme of climate change. Thank you.
Okay. I have seen all the positive support for the program. Jana, as the program board, do you have any comments or reactions? And also the companies.
Thank you everyone for your interventions, and on behalf of my co-chairs in the program board, I can only express one reaction, and that is of gratitude to all of you for endorsing this work program. We do know that we have a few actions on us to take care of, so we can really get on, especially in the area of foundational tasks where we need to tidy up the terms of reference of the working groups and issue calls for membership. And we'll be working towards that end in our next meeting of the program board. But other than that, I think we can consider it approved and adopted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we appreciate all the valuable comments and advices, and also the explanation by our program board. So the 2020 to 2022 GEO work program is formally endorsed by the plenary. Now let's have the coffee break. We will come back at 4 o'clock. Thank you very much.